is pro, and so we grow using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And Crystal, happy Black History Month.
Same to you. It's exciting. I love, this is my favorite time of the month. Is that
That's
inside of
right.
the year?
This,
It's Black History Month, so
this
I
is
hope
the only time we get to claim something, right?
True that. and everybody else is claiming it as well.
Yes.
So it's not just us claiming it, but everybody else is seeing it as well.
Yes.
So yeah, I love this month. So today we're going to talk about that, but we are also going to talk about what's going on in LA this weekend,
Yes.
and we're going to take it from the business model sense. And woo, I tell you, now that's knowing how to make a business work.
And I'm telling you, man. And I have no shame in my game of, pinching a piece of their style and including it into my recipe.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes.
Their recipe is quite successful.
I'm telling you. And see, that's the blueprint of any entrepreneur, to take a recipe that works successfully. And if you don't want to use the whole recipe, just use bits and pieces of it, make your own.
Make your own, because I was just telling my class that I had a class the other night with the New Women's Business Center, and I was telling them is you don't have to reinvent models if you just find a business that's very similar to yours, and there's tons of them because there's no brand new businesses. There's just remakes and disruptions of old business models, and find one, follow that business owner, and mentor, shadow, copy, do whatever. But if his model is working, then you need to be all on board with trying to see why, read all his books, read all of their books, so that you can get a good feel on what it is like to have a successful business. That's why I always tell my kids when I'm teaching them that I'm an entrepreneur and I absolutely love it. But however, I recognize when this is the journey that I wanted to go on, then I needed to see how a successful business ran from the inside out. And I didn't go in it thinking of myself as an employee. I thought of this was just another part of my lesson plan.
Right.
And so that's what I say to everybody. But with the internet, you can stalk a person, actually.
You can professionally stalk them.
you can read their books, you can grab all the details that you want from them, and it's all out there.
That's
Hi,
what I'm talking about.
Hey, Jasmine, welcome, guys. Duplicate. That's what I say.
That's right.
And so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But how was your week?
Oh, my week was good. It was busy. First, let me shout out to Jasmine Haley and Tahisha Andrea Hall. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Business Zone. I'm glad you guys tuned in. And hopefully we can share some wisdom with you guys today that you probably already know. But, if not, hopefully we can share some things with you that you can pass on to others.
All right.
So my week has been phenomenal. As you know, at the Los Angeles Urban League, I'm running an SBA program for them. It's called the SBA Navigator Program, which helps small businesses who've been impacted by the COVID pandemic to get back on their feet, to like you say, to rinse and renew, revitalize themselves. So that's what it helps small businesses to do, to learn how to get back on track and even become stronger than they were before. So this class, it's an 8-week class that covers a variety of areas, how to become grant ready, how to develop, manage, and understand your cash flow, which you did yesterday, which was an amazing, 2 days ago, which was an amazing class. I'm getting a lot of good feedback on that. A lot of people are saying good things about it. They're going, man, one lady I was talking to yesterday, she said, accounting and bookkeeping is so boring, and I really don't care about it. But the way Crystal did it, man, I was so inspired and enthused. I really wanted to go look at my books. Before, she didn't want to look at her books before, but now she wants to look at the books.
That's my secret sauce, making
Yes.
accounting and bookkeeping sexy.
Yes, make it sexy and appetizing, and make them want to check it out. So you've done your job. You've done your job. So they're loving it, and there are a few more classes. Next week we're doing business model. So we're just talking right now about business model with blacks and the NFL and all of that. So we're gonna talk about business model next week, and this is no little fricky type of business model we're talking about. We're taking a deep dive and to take a 360-degree approach to business model next week to show you guys how you can use it to make some money.
Yeah, that's what I in that series that I do for the New Women's Business Center. I go into the business model, but with the kids for the entrepreneurial program, the biz camp that I do, that is the curriculum is the business model. So I've been teaching that with them for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's the model that Nifty is based upon, and they've actually evolved it to that.
Yeah.
So for like existing businesses, we talk about the business model canvas, but when you first start out, which is what we use for the kids, is the lean business model canvas. And that addresses the template is different. So the template is talking about the three the problems, the solutions, the value proposition, and then the key metrics. Whereas in the more established businesses, who's your business partners and that kind of stuff. So we teach the kids that. And summer startup camp is actually taking their business model that they've developed in business camp and testing and retesting and testing the hypotenuse and making changes. And that's the entire summer camp. That's what they're doing. These kids are doing like graduate level business modeling, because they have to keep testing to see, well, does this real aspect of it works? And for them to complete the course, they have to do 3 versions and testing the hypotenuse of 3 versions of their business.
See, I love that. And that's how it should be, because if you don't test the hypothesis of your business, how do you know it's a legitimate business? How do you know it works?
Right,
you got to test it. You got to test it against some variables out in the marketplace and see how it comes back. Does it hold true to form to what it's supposed to be, or does it crumble and fall along the wayside?
Right, exactly.
Do people say, "Oh, we don't need that," or do they go, "Yeah, we need that. Bring it"?
Right. And one of the things that we use is the book by Lean Model Canvas by Eric Rice. And he actually takes you through the formula and the steps of testing that hypotenuse. And so it's pretty awesome. But as I'm saying, the kids are learning this, and
I love it.
12 to 18 years old. Whereas the adults are, they're like, what?
They're floundering around going, what's a business model? I don't think I need that. Yeah, right. A lot of small businesses, part of the reason why they're not more successful is because they're saying, I don't need that. I don't need to be part of that. While the other successful businesses are just gobbling up all the information. They're going, yeah, I need that. Bring me more. So they're getting everything they can, while the unsuccessful one, I don't need that. Let me stay in my corner. Oh,
Right. I want to do this much business
yeah,
as opposed to this much
yeah. I'm
business.
making
Right.
50,000 a year. Oh, I'm good with that. No,
Right.
no, no.
Exactly.
Other
Right.
guys are going, I want to make $50 million this year, and next year I want to make 100 million.
Right. And it's different for every business. So, after I taught, after I did the class for Urban League, right behind it, I did another rinse and repeat
Oh yeah.
directly behind it. But I only had for Vermont Slauson, I only had a couple of women, but it was different because one was in entertainment and
Yeah,
one was a nonprofit. And
yeah,
so we actually could talk through the cash flow based upon their own individual businesses,
yeah,
and because nonprofits operate um differently. They have to chart their money differently, their monies come in differently.
yeah,
And then the entertainment business is also a unique industry, and this
yeah,
young lady was a filmmaker. So you have to devise a plan, so because you can't wait to you got to have money up front in order to
yeah,
start the project,
yeah,
to pay
yeah.
the actors, to do all that sort of stuff,
Hmm.
to actually just get the production, to get it to production mode, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you need money on the front end, then you need money in the middle, and then you get your biggest rewards on the back end. But then we talked about what that looks like today in
hmm,
the social media world, where content and where you can keep creating more business models on revenue streams on top of what you've done, the box
right,
office and royalties and
right.
merchandising and all that sort of stuff. And so it was a good class.
See, that's something that many of our minority and small businesses need to learn how to do, how to look at additional streams of revenues and incorporate that in their business, because there are some areas that they probably don't think about. For example, like in my case, for example, I got a software platform that I use for small businesses to help them with their back office, help them to become more organized, help them to analyze and become ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could sell subscriptions to that, and
Yes.
and I could sell an overall program plan to nonprofits and chambers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the part that I may not look at, which is a big money maker, is the licensing piece. I can license that to Verizon or any of
That's
these
what I
or the
say. That's
banks.
where your big money
It's
comes from.
that's where the big money is. And a lot of us don't think about licenses when we're doing stuff. That's a
Right.
big revenue stream right there.
And the licensing is renewable every year, right?
Yes,
So you
yes.
keep bringing in more revenue every
Keep
year
bringing
for
in
the same
more.
product, for the same
Yes.
product. Yeah.
So those are different ways that we need to start looking at increasing our revenues, bringing in new revenue streams, and start making more money. Start filling up that basket of money. So when that basket is full, we move on to a bigger basket.
Exactly, but not just relying on, me, multiple streams of revenue, right?
Yeah,
Don't rely on one revenue stream. You have to
yeah,
have multiples, because if one dries up, then you have you have a backup plan, right?
yeah,
So, and that's important, because I think there was someone that in the chat, and I didn't get a chance to answer it. They were asking, how do you, when I was talking about cash flow and creating additional revenue streams, once you realize that your margins are so small that the way you're doing it is never going to help you get to a place where you can have extra after you. I mean, you can do the lean, cut back off on, or cut back on excess expenses and things like that. But then at the end of the day, you need to be able to create a real big cushion,
hmm,
to be able to really fund your emergency fund, right?
yes, yeah,
And so one of those ways is creating another revenue stream.
yeah,
That's the sole purpose, is to go
yeah,
into the emergency fund, right?
right,
That's
yeah,
what it's supposed to be for. So selling merchandise, licensing, selling packages. A lot of people just do individual as opposed to packaging.
yeah,
Some of our nonprofits, in the contract world, yeah, being a minority certified business, but you can also be do business to business and with other businesses as well.
yeah,
Nonprofits, if you have a service that that you can actually provide the training or workshops for a program that the nonprofit can then go find funding for.
That's
And that's the key, right?
yes,
You go to a nonprofit, say, hey, I have this program, and you go out and find the funding, and I'll teach this program, and I get paid. This is my contract with them. There you go.
yeah,
Voila.
yeah,
And
yeah,
with them, their whole business is about programming,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
and if it's successful and they get some matrix out of it, and they have some reportable deliverables that um they have to report back to the funder, then
Mhm.
it's a win-win situation for them.
That's what I'm
So,
talking
so
about,
you
man.
got to think, as one of the kids told me, Miss Crystal, I think outside of the box. So you got to be outside of the box.
So Veronica said that she just spoke of licensing her idea today. You got to go back to help the LA South Chamber at the Taste of Inglewood. So you're leaving us right now, Veronica? Okay.
Well, be safe out there, Veronica,
Be
but
safe out there.
enjoy.
Make sure you wear that mask, okay?
Mhm. But that's why you do that. So what you're going to be doing with them is helping them to be able to see other potential opportunities, and a lot of times, like my class I did last night was on identifying your target market and your target audience, right? So
Yeah.
that you can really narrow down on who your customer is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was giving them ideas on how do you do that? How do you, because that, if you have multiple customers that you can sell to, hey Greg,
Hey,
multiple
Greg, how you doing, bro?
multiple segments that you can market to, that's additional revenue streams
That's right.
coming in, right,
That's
from
right.
another angle. So
Mm-hmm.
just looking at that. So that's why we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, because
Yeah.
I tell you what, they ain't missing a beat on anything. The money that comes in from the Super Bowl
Yeah.
is just amazing. And here in Los Angeles, everyone, all the businesses were excited. But I will bet you that the Super Bowl is looking at all areas with all their big eyeballs.
Yeah.
Every eyeball is on
Yeah.
every revenue stream.
Yeah.
Our
And on
businesses
any potential
in
revenue
any
stream.
potential revenue stream. But I will guarantee you, Gilbert, that the businesses that are doing business with the Super Bowl, they probably
Yeah.
only thought of one revenue stream.
Yeah, exactly. And just to be there to generate some money. They're not looking at, licensing their products with the Super Bowl or licensing it with some of the participants at the Super Bowl or, forming some kind of subscription membership model or something like that. Or, a lot
Or
of
how do you
different types of
or how do you capitalize it after the Super Bowl?
after the Super Bowl.
Right,
Yes.
so that it
Yes.
continues to pay you and legal and illegal revenue stream, right? Greg, this is true that. But I'm just impressed with, I knew the Super Bowl made money, but
Yeah.
after looking at this, it's like, oh my God, the Super Bowl is making one event generates just billions of dollars, just one event.
You know who is one of the big strategic partner of the Super Bowl and the NFL?
Who?
PepsiCo.
Pepsi? Yeah.
PepsiCo. They make a killing on this. And as a matter of fact, on Saturday, tomorrow,
Uh-huh.
they have an event that I'm going to, right? It's
Okay.
called the Taste of the NFL, where
Okay.
we select some small businesses through the Urban League. We select some small restaurants to participate there, so they're going to be there. We also selected some barbers and hairstylists who are going to be
Okay.
there as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing event. So see what they do is, and the PepsiCo, they provided the Urban League with some grants for some of these small restaurants. They call the
Mm-hmm.
program an accelerator program, Black Restaurant Accelerator Program, right? So what they're doing is giving exposure to these small businesses. Now, after the Super Bowl, they're going to have mentoring and coaching sessions with these small businesses and help to build their business. So now you see
Awesome.
why building the back office is so critical to them now. You see
Right.
what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's why
Exactly.
we're saying, as a business owner, you cannot think one dimensionally. You have to think multi-dimensionally, and also in a 360-degree approach, because there's so many opportunities for revenue generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, guys, we're gonna jump in here because we also want to talk. We want to do our Black History programming today, but I just couldn't pass this up because it's just too amazing.
Too
You are tuned
amazing.
into the Business Zone with Crystal and
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic.
yeah, so we want you guys to go on over. We are streaming live right now on Facebook and YouTube. We want you to go over and to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button so that you are tuned in every week to the Business Zone. Now, Greg says look up Legend Hospitality Corporation. So, Gilbert, you look up Legends
It's
Hospitality.
called Legends
I'm gonna
Hospitality.
put it on the screen here.
Okay.
And then I am going to share. So this is going to be great because you can use some of this when you talk about the business model for next week at the class.
Yes.
So the Super Bowl business model, guys. This is just absolutely amazing. So this is at a glance. So first of all, every year, millions of Americans and even more around the world take time out for one particular Sunday to watch the Super Bowl. Now, they make millions from 30-second commercials, right? They've been doing this forever, right? So this is how they make their money. They make their money through ad sales, through broadcasting rights, through licensing and sponsors, which is what we just talked about, ticket sales, and future proof. So let's jump down here to the sales. So, on an average, over the past few years, the cost of a Super Bowl commercial has surpassed $170,000 per second. Now,
Wow. Wow.
multiply that by the 30 seconds.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. $170,000.
Per second for a
Wow.
30-second commercial spot, right?
Mm-mm.
And so but these companies, they as I was reading through this, these companies actually, this is big bragging rights for them because you
Yeah.
are a business titan if you can put a 30-second commercial
Mm-hmm.
during the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
because that's a lot of money, right, for 30 seconds. So
Correct.
in 2020, Fox benefited a price of $5.6 million for a 30-second ad spot.
Mm-mm.
$5.6 million. So that's the average cost of the advertising. Now this is interesting. So broadcasting rights are not just here in the United States. The NFL ends up with more than $5 billion in their pocket each year from their broadcasting rights.
So the $3 billion that they pay every year for broadcasting rights, is it collectively or individually from CBS?
Collectively,
Oh, okay.
the NFL $3 billion for the right to broadcast the games, but the
Wow.
United States is not the only one. 180 countries are broadcasting the game in 25 different languages.
Wow. Wow. And imagine the NFL getting a piece of that pie from each of those countries.
Each one of those countries, right? Then next
Yeah.
is their licensing and sponsorship. So in 2018, they pulled in $1.3 billion in sponsorships. Um but they said only about 10% of their yearly revenue comes from licensing deals. So they don't do a whole lot there. But here they do generate significant revenue from the gambling and betting sectors. There was a legislation that was passed, and in numerous states, including New Jersey and Nevada, the NFL signed up Caesars, its first casino partner, in a contract reportedly worth $30 million.
See, this is one thing I wanted to talk about, Crystal, because we talked about this earlier about the NFL and the NBA getting involved in gambling, but they don't get directly involved with that.
Mm-mm.
This is like a licensing deal because what they do is the venue that is authorized to do gambling, which is Las Vegas,
Right.
they set up a licensing deal with Vegas. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So Vegas carries the NBA and the NFL game, and they get a cut out of that.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So they found a way around the system because we all know gambling is illegal, but the way they set it up, they didn't do it directly. It goes through an authorized gambling channel. That's amazing, man.
And that's out of the box
Yes,
thinking.
out of the box thinking. Out of the box thinking.
So the next revenue stream and business model revenue generator is the ticket sales. So throughout 2010, the average ticket price was skyrocketed to around $2,800. On average, new NFL stadiums seat about 70,000 people. Average tickets is from $1,000 to $5,000 a seat. So during the Packer game, they spent, let's see, $370 million, but the ticket sales jumped from 48 million to $71 million.
Wow.
Some stadiums actually are increasing that by adding more seats. They're renovating their stadiums to renovate more seats.
Wow.
Right.
So some of these stadiums during the pandemic, when they have to do that 6 feet social distancing, it was hurting their budget.
You ain't doing no 6 feet distance.
It was hurting
All
their
I
budget.
say is these folk better wear a mask on Sunday. There ain't gonna be no distancing because every seat gonna have a butt in
Every
it.
seat had the price to it.
But
I love
get
it.
this.
I
In
love it.
1967, when the Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers on January 5th play in at LA Memorial Coliseum, the
Yeah.
tickets were $10.
Wow. 1967. 1967. Holy moly.
And even with the adjusted inflation, it was $77.99, which was a steal.
Yeah.
Today, the tickets are going for. So let me come on down here to the.
Probably
have this drop down here.
$850 to $1,000 at least.
No, the average ticket is $6,390.
Oh my Lord.
There is a picture on Facebook circulating through the on the internet. The highest price ticket I think was $35,000.
Oh, and I believe that. I believe it
Yeah.
because I've heard it before.
Yeah. So that's some amazing stuff, isn't it?
That is amazing, man.
Right,
Can you imagine marking up your products or services that much in such a short space of time? And people are fighting to pay for it? Oh man. That's amazing. That's a cash cow right there.
Right. And so now for the future, because they're not thinking just for the now.
Oh no.
They're thinking for the future. So television, people are cutting cable cords and all that kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
Verizon signed a deal for 5-year rights of streaming the Super Bowl. So that's
Yeah.
a $2.5 billion deal.
Yeah.
Amazon, $130 million for 2 years. And in addition, the Super Bowl stadium is just the sort of place where 5G will make a major difference. So they're making some deals on there. And to capitalize on the legislation wave on gambling, NFL could set up betting parlors in the stadiums,
Oh
partner,
Lord. You know,
partners with
you know when you go to Vegas, right? And as soon as you land at the airport, you see those little gambling kiosks right there. That's what they're trying to do here. Setting up these
right.
little gambling booths and parlors and kiosks at the stadiums.
So they're gonna
Man,
have betting parlors in the stadium. They're gonna partner with established casinos or set
wow.
up online sport gambling portals.
Wow. That is unbelievable,
So
man.
that is the business model of the Super Bowl. So it's just not a sporting event. It is a money maker.
That's a
So
money making machine right there, man. Wow. Wow.
I will put
Wow.
it in the chat. So anybody want to go and take a look at it and find out what's really happening on Sunday. This is why, and then why the cities were clamoring. That's why
And
they were clamoring for the Super Bowl.
And this is why they were happy to do it in LA, because LA is a land of celebrities and people who have the money. These are people with disposable income, so they can afford those tickets. They can buy one of those what do you call it, the sky boxes,
Yeah, the
and
skybox
they can throw parties in there, and it
and
it
charge.
it doesn't dent their wallets. You see what I'm saying? So many of the other cities that have these Super Bowls, like Florida, you got some celebrities there too. But let's say it's gonna be uh, in the state of Tennessee, right?
Right.
You don't have a lot of wealth there,
Oh no, but
or
you got the wealthy. You got the
you see what I mean?
wealthy. Yeah. And
So here
football is
you already have it. This morning I was listening to the radio, and they said all seats are sold out.
well. That's what.
Parking, there's no parking in the stadium. You gotta
Oh,
go park somewhere
and
else.
I forgot to add the parking
Yes.
concessions because remember, Greg said the luxury box is $600,000.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking
Right.
about.
But that tells you there is a lot of money
Oh
circulating
man, it's a
out
money
there,
machine.
and that people really need to figure out how to get part of it. Because if someone has $600,000 to throw away,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say it because this is a one-time event. When
One
you
time
fall
event.
asleep, you're gonna dream about it that night. But
Yes.
somewhere down 10 days from now, that dream is gonna fade. By
Yes.
6 months, you're gonna forgot that you did it, right? But I do remember, I can't remember what when they had the all-star game in Vegas.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend and I went. We were there for a week. There was so much money rolling through Vegas.
Yeah.
During that weekend, I guess this was good planning on their part.
Yeah.
The pimps and the hoes, the pimp society, they had their convention at the same
The
time.
same
At
time.
the
See,
same,
that was visionary right
that
there.
was brilliant, right? And money was being thrown all over that city. They go into the strip clubs, and it was just like you were walking on piles of money.
There's probably a pimp and hoe convention going on here in LA right now, but we don't even know about it. To coincide with the Super Bowl, because think about it. That's phenomenal, man.
It
See,
was.
the minority and black businesses, we need to figure out a way how to get a piece of that pie.
Greg said, "What a coincidence!" You know darn well, Greg, that was no coincidence. Saturday night, I was partying at an exclusive party, and Charles Barkley was there, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, a friend of mine that worked for Mercedes, he got us in, and he's like, "Oh, here, have a seat right here. You guys are fine." I said, "We are." All of a sudden, me and my girlfriend, we looking good. We looking like $3 billion ourselves. We looking good. And all of a sudden, this guy come over with his top hat, and he comes over with his cane. And he says, "Excuse me, this is my seat." I went, I just got upstaged by a pimp.
Pimp Daddy came in
he,
and took over your seat.
he threw out his money. He had his walking stick and his little
His top hat.
fedora and his top hat, and he's like, "This is my seat." So we're
Oh
like, "Well, I
man.
just be darned." So then Sunday we're at the Mirage, and we had a great seat right in front of the big screen TV.
Yeah.
Again, my friends like, "Oh, you guys will be fine there."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and I
The
don't know
pimp.
if I don't know if you have ever heard of this guy because he's in LA. Greg has heard of him. His name is Bishop Don Juan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he came in with his entourage because they had been up all night, all week. And we got moved out by Bishop Don Juan. I was like, okay.
And his entourage.
His entourage. Money speaks loud.
Oh yes. Oh yes. That's what you call position power right there. He's got position power. He just stepped up, waved his little pimp rod there.
his goblet.
Yeah. And you know what happens, you know.
So I'm gonna tell businesses, you guys gotta start thinking creative.
You gotta start thinking creative, you know. Your marketing plan should coincide with a lot of major events so you can benefit from it.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
You know, they talk about a trickle down economy where, you know, people do certain things and then they throw a little bone and you end up getting, you know, some meat from that bone. That's what that is. Right. You know, when you have a major event like the Super Bowl, position yourself so your business can start getting some opportunities out of it.
Yeah, you have to. You using these opportunities is like Christmas and New Year.
Oh,
Use those opportunities to create some sort of special, some sort of deal that can generate money for you. Because if not, you're working very hard and you can utilize and we have enough. Gloria, hello Gloria, evaluating the relationship between what is this?
Myocarditis.
Oh, with the vaccine, several. I guess this is something about the vaccine. Something about the COVID. So, but we're saying to our businesses, we want you to really start to think about align your business with other entities that are making big money out there and look at how they're doing it. Now, people have been gearing up for this for the Super Bowl for the last 3 years. We've been talking about this. This was before COVID.
Well, they've been doing it since 4 years ago.
Right. 4 years ago, they were preparing. So now look at the businesses that if they positioned themselves just right and use some of that money that they received throughout the pandemic, that they were able to be ready for this particular event. They could literally make up what they lost in 2020.
Yes, exactly. And the city of Los Angeles, I think they have an agreement where in 2024 and 2028 they're either going to have the Olympics or the World Cup here. So small businesses need to start getting ready. You know, we talk about this over and over, saying, hey, you want to be certified, you want to be ready, you want to be contract ready, and we're ready. They're not ready. So those are things you need to start looking at. How can I become certification ready? How can I become business ready and contract ready? So when these things come about, I'm in. Because even with the Super Bowl, they were looking for some small and minority businesses to participate. And many of them didn't have a certification. They weren't ready. They didn't have a business license. They didn't have their articles of incorporation. So they missed out on if you're a corporation, how can you miss an opportunity like that by not having your article of incorporation or your business license? Those things are primary things you need to start the business. So how can you not have it?
So I'm going to say, Gilbert, just based upon what you said for the future, what's happening in the future.
Yes.
Everyone, by the time those two events take place,
yes,
you need to be right now, use this time to get everything, put all the excuses put all the excuses to the side and just
Yeah.
get ready. Greg said, "Who can they contact to get ready?" Ah.
Well, well, I know of a man and a woman on a podcast every Friday at 3 o'clock. The podcast is called The Business Zone. And that woman's, her name is Crystal Mitchell. And the guy's name is Gilbert Buchanan. Those two guys, I'm sure, can help the small businesses get ready for that.
Yes,
So
we can help you
reach
get
out
ready.
to us, guys. Reach out to us.
Yeah, so we want you, and I put the link in the chat over there. Go look and see how they making their money. Now I want everyone to just start getting creative. I tell my kids when we first sit down to start developing and coming up with business ideas, the sky is the limit. Think
Yeah.
as big as you possibly can,
Yes.
and then if we got to pull you down out the stars, that's okay, we'll pull you
Yeah.
down, but
Yeah.
get out there to the stratosphere, and then we come bring it back and decide what's a reality and what's not.
Because, you know, looking back at the NFL's business model, the Super Bowl, look at that, right? They have an untapped potential, unlimited amount of revenues that they can make, because right now they only think of a few options. Come next year, they're going to be thinking of other options that they're going to incorporate. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then the following year, they're going to keep doing, because look at when you first started there in 1967, you know, where the fee was only $10 to get in.
Right.
Look at what they've done since 67, and now we're at 2022.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
$600,000 for
$6,000 from $10 to $6,000
just for an average ticket.
And that's just to get in. We're not even talking about the food at the concession stand. We're not talking about
the
parking. You know, some people travel and they have to stay in hotels. You know, we're not even talking about those
right, exactly. But I did see. Now, this is what I saw this, and I thought this was clever. I was coming from the bank down Centinela today, and right there at Centinela in Hyde Park, there was a big yellow sign on a fence there. That's a auto mechanic on the corner. Next to it is a fire station.
Yeah.
M&M had a big yellow goldenrod sign with big red letters that said M&M Soul Food, with their address, with their phone number.
I love it.
Because that's going to be Centinela is going to be a main thoroughfare to get to the beach, right? The west side of town. That's how they're going to go.
And so, there's going to be a lot of people who want soul food on that day.
Right. And so, and as you go along there, you'll see Phillips Barbecue. I am sure Woody's is going to have their smokes going up over by Market Street. whatever kind of food you have that's black, because we have a large number of soul food restaurants here in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah.
And so they're gonna be everywhere. And then downtown LA, oh my God, because that's where they're gonna be staying at the hotels downtown. The city is going to make big money this weekend.
Some people are coming in right now. Some people are already here. So
they started coming in yesterday.
Tonight they're gonna be out there on the town doing things, having dinners with their friends. You see what I'm saying? So this is what our minority businesses should be thinking about. How can I get ahead of the line so I can start capitalize on that? And next year, 2024, I don't want to hear any of you say you missed the boat or you miss any opportunity, because we're forewarning you right now. We're telling you what's coming down the pipe.
Mm-hmm. But I will say this: there's one group that's going to be on point, and I've always wondered how they do this so quickly. And that is the t-shirt people. The t-shirt people is like they go into nighttime production.
Yeah, nighttime production.
The next day, they're standing on the corner.
That is true. That is true, man. That is so true.
So they right now are in nighttime production.
Oh yeah. Just wait until the winner of the Super Bowl is announced. They're gonna have their t-shirts ready with the right name on it.
I don't know how they do that. You could come out of the. I mean, when you go to the Staples Center, you could come out of the Staples and you have no idea who's gonna win the
Yeah,
basketball game, and you come out
yeah,
and the T-shirts are already made. I was like, how
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
do that?
yeah, yeah. Oh yes, yes, yes.
So, but
Those guys
anyway,
are geniuses, man. I really give them props for that.
yeah, I
I
give them
give them
props
props.
because they on point. So they probably are producing both. I don't know
Yeah,
who's gonna win, but I'm gonna
yeah.
have both. So
That's great, man.
I know they are ready. So I just want you guys as small businesses think a business model is important. So if you
Yeah,
have not signed up for the class that Gilbert is doing, you really need to look at and a business model should definitely have multiple revenue streams that you can generate, just like the Super Bowl is
yeah.
done. Is they've created multiple revenue streams
Mhm.
and they've taken this is a whole franchise. They not joking. So it's not about just the guys on the football field. It's about everything else that goes
Everything
along with
else.
that,
What
and they getting a piece of the action on all of it.
what goes on the football field, man, is minimal to what these other guys are doing elsewhere. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
And if you
Because
look at all the money that the NFL is making, but the average football player does not make the money that the basketball player makes.
no, no,
Yep. They're
no.
not making, they're not in $1 million, $2 million, 10, whatever Shaq and
Yeah,
Kobe and all those guys make. They're, the average is 800 and something $1,000
yeah,
with
right.
with more of the potential to get hurt. And once
And
they get hurt,
their lifespan is probably about 3 to 5 years in the
yeah,
NFL, right?
right.
And while
Yeah,
the football player, I mean the NBA players, they can go anywhere from 10 to 18 years,
right,
you know,
exactly.
and
Hmm.
making millions
And
each year.
making millions, and their injuries are less severe than a
Yeah.
football player. So
Yes. Yeah.
you really have to think about the overall of that sport. And so I get where people are saying the NFL is making all this money, but the ball players don't make that as much
Right.
money as that. But they need to come to the table and
Yeah.
renegotiate. If you ask me, because if you're making you making $5 billion off of one, you sure
Yeah.
in the heck can pay me a little bit more money.
Exactly. Now that's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead over our list, Crystal, and share with some of the folks some of what we've learned about some of our ancestors who've been innovators and creators back in the day, what they've done in order to make life simpler for most of us here today. and
Right. So
and we have some new breed of entrepreneurs who take it to a next level. So yeah, let's talk
most
about some
definitely.
of them.
So let's share. So now we're jumping into, now that we didn't talk about that, we're going to talk about Black History Month and celebrating our Black excellence. And I read I read something on Facebook this morning, and it went through. And you've heard me say this multiple times, Gilbert, that
Mhm.
all that our ancestors had gone through,
Mhm.
and if we are here as a result of that ancestor
Mhm.
that survived the slavery and survived Jim Crow and survived racism afterwards,
And
there is
survive
right,
Donald Trump.
and survived and survived and survived, and you're here today, you have no excuses
Yeah.
to be we have no excuses to be successful, to take your Black brilliance and your Black excellence and your talents and your skills,
Yeah.
and to be able to create wealth for your family. We really need to go back to our ancestors and embrace our history so that we know, um, and see what they did, because it's just it marvels me that these individuals were so, I don't know what, they just were so talented
Yeah.
to create something out of nothing, right?
Right.
So um in my history and in the search and the research that I did, and it was African American businesses or Black owned businesses originated in the days of slavery. So it started in 1865. That was the
Mhm.
very we were barely emancipated.
Yeah.
Some didn't get the message until 2 years later. That's why we have
Yeah.
a Juneteenth, because
Yeah.
their people didn't tell them that they were,
Right.
the state of Texas didn't tell them that they were free. But
Right.
they created businesses, insurance companies, banks,
Mhm.
recording labels, funeral parlors, barbershops, beauty shops, salons, restaurants, soul food restaurants, record stores, and bookstores. And
Mhm.
so as I was going through and looking at all the things that we have done, it's just amazing. So we're going to go over to our list first.
Mhm.
And let me next slide here. So lawyers, obviously we had to fight for our rights. So the in 1920 there were tens of thousands of Black businesses, and a great majority of them were quite small, like we are today. The
Right.
largest were insurance companies,
Mhm.
and uh, they created numerous of offshoots that included bankers and publishers and lawyers and funeral directors and retailers and insurance agents. So today we are in those same businesses, but we're operating on such a smaller scale when we
And
have so many more opportunities.
and also looking at some of the larger businesses that blacks owned back in the day, like the insurance companies. Part of
Mm-hmm.
the reason why those were some of the larger businesses is because at that time, then the slave owners would come and they'll destroy your property
Mm-hmm.
maliciously.
Mm-hmm.
They will beat people down, kill them, and do all types of things. So the insurance company had to cover those people, issue policies to cover the damages or cover the lives that people lost, or any loss of business. So that's why the insurance companies were so much larger then, because they only were allowed to cover blacks. They couldn't
Yeah.
cover the whites. Whites wouldn't care for
Right.
them.
Exactly.
But because of the dangers and the exposure to some of these types of liabilities, they had to do that.
Right. Which is interesting because, but I always say segregation. Integration was the worst thing that could have happened to us. We should have
That's
just
true.
stayed segregated, because we
Yeah.
would have been far advanced than where we are by using our own sources. So I found this is a new person that I didn't know about this person, and I do a lot of research on Black folks. But Rebecca Lee Crumpter, she was the first Black woman to become a doctor in the United States. She received her degree just as the Civil War was ending, and millions of newly emancipated African Americans were in need of support, including medical care, and she helped. She
Right.
provided care for the poor who and definitely didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
She was ridiculed. She fought through all kinds of racism. Um, Trying to get prescriptions filled for her patients. She wrote a book. It's called The Book of Medical Discourse. Is believed to be the first medical text written by an African American author.
Mhm.
And this is what I thought was kind of interesting. Today, only 2% of the practicing physicians are identified as African American women.
Mhm.
Isn't that
Mhm.
something?
Unbelievable.
I
Unbelievable.
would think that there would be so many more women that are in, and we need more Black women in medicine, because Black women get treated, especially women that are having babies. Black people, period, in the medical in the health industry is treated really, really bad. But if there were more people that look like us that we
Yeah.
could go to and
Yeah.
recognize who we are, and not just to make an assumption that we're this superhuman individual, and so therefore we don't need right medications, we don't need right treatments, you can put us on the back burner, or things like that. So we do need more medical professionals that look like ourselves, and then we
Mhm.
need to choose those individuals as our doctors.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
This lady I've always been impressed with, and I've known about her for a long time. So, Maggie Lena Walker was the first Black woman in the nation to organize and run a bank.
Mm-mm-mm.
She did it in a segregated South in the former capital of the Confederacy, Richmond, Virginia. She was
Wow.
one of the most important Black women, businesswomen in the nation, and today too few people have heard of her. She bought a building, opened a department store. She financed and edited a newspaper called the St. Luke Herald. I believe her bank was still existing into the 1900s, into the late 1900s, in our parents' age group.
What's the name of her bank? Do you remember?
I think it was here. Let me see if I can do a quick little the name of her bank.
And see, that was probably part of the reason why you had so many entrepreneurs coming into existence, because they needed loans, they needed money to start their business. And because she ran that Black bank, she was able to provide them funding.
Yeah, it was called the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank.
Mm-mm-mm.
And she was the first Black woman, and she was from 1864 to 1934. She died in 1934.
Wow.
So
That's
that's her
amazing.
history. So you guys should go do some reading up on her. Share that with your children. So her book is called Pennies to Dollars: The Story of Maggie Lena Walker.
I would like our viewers out there right now, our viewers to, I'd like to challenge them to go do some research and bring us back at least three African Americans in history that have done some great work, whether it by invention or the first to do something or has helped the race along. So we are what we are today. I would love for our audience to do that for us. That
Yeah.
would be amazing.
That would definitely be amazing, because if we don't know our history, we don't know our stories, we don't know what our past is, then it's
Right.
very difficult to establish your future, right? Because
That's
you don't
right.
know that you come from greatness. Now, this guy, I've read his book this book is called Black Titan. His name is A.G. Gaston, and
Yeah.
that stands for Author George Gaston. He was born in a log cabin in Demo Populous, Alabama in 1892. He defied the social climate of the times to become a business leader and later the behind the scenes political leader at a critical time in civil rights history. So he owned a insurance company. He
Hmm.
sold at first he was selling insurance, and then he thought, wait a minute, I need to be selling plots as well,
Yes.
because they got to be buried somewhere.
Yes.
So he became the very first millionaire in our African American history. He
I
was
believe that. I believe
probably
that
the
because
richest Black man in America. He was the leading employer in Blacks in Alabama, and directly and indirectly gave substantial aid and comfort to the civil rights movement. I think he even funded his monies even in the latter days, and he died. He lived a long time. I think he lived well into his 90s, and he would go when uh activists were being jailed for protesting. He would then go and bail them out.
he lived into the 1960s, right?
Yeah, 1960s. Yeah.
Right. So see, the thing is, part of the reason why he was so successful as an insurance broker and also a funeral home owner is that in 1892 was when, you remember, after they claimed that slavery was abolished and they didn't tell
Mhm.
anyone, and then 2 years after folks find out, and then folks start leaving the plantation to go set up their own, right?
Mhm.
And right about that time in 1890s is when they started another civil war, because the white owners were saying, these blacks, these uppity blacks, what are they? They don't have the same rights as we. They're trying to vote, because that's when a lot of blacks were getting into Congress, right? They were
Mhm.
becoming
Mhm.
politicians, and they didn't like that. So they went around and they burned down the homes of many of those blacks and killed them. And that's a part of the reason why Mr. Gaston here was able to provide burial services for them and generate some of that money as well. So
Right. So
it
he
was
started with that, and then in his latter days he has a construction and engineering consulting business, and so
wow.
so he built a lot of the town in Alabama. But
Yeah.
you guys should go read about him. He also has a Boys and Girls Club named after him called the A.E. Gaston Boys and Girls Club. He's a major. So he went from log cabin to funeral home mogul. That's how he made his first $1 million. And then he went on into other businesses as he went along. But I love the fact that he gave back to help and go back and pull up his brothers in order to fight through what we were going through.
That's
Now,
how it's got to be, Crystal. We got to send the elevator back down to our other fallen brothers, or not as strong as we are, or not as successful as we are. You know.
right, exactly. You got to turn around and you got to help. Now, this lady right here. So everyone has heard of, and there was actually a movie, and this was part of that. Madam C.J. Walker. Everyone
Yeah.
felt that she was the mother of black hair care
Yeah.
and black hair tools. She
Yeah.
was not. The very first one was actually Annie Malone. Annie actually was the first one business owner, inventor, and philanthropist. She was considered to be one of the first African American women to become a millionaire. By 1920, she was a multimillionaire. So
Wow.
actually, her hair care product, which is what made her uh, um, really her invention, was stolen and changed by Madam C.J. Walker.
So see, there isn't smoke without fire, or there isn't fire without smoke. Because remember, they talk about the Roaring Twenties, right? The 1920s.
Right.
That's when they had black people curling their hair, straightening their hair, and all of that. And that's where she came in, because of the hair care products that she was offering was able to help those blacks who wanted to straighten their hair, perm their hair, do whatever they needed to
And
do
she
there.
had this herbal product that she was a chemist. So
Yeah.
she had lost her hair, and an
Mhm.
illness forced her out of school.
Yeah.
So she went and used she experimented with chemistry and herbs, and she was able to grow her hair back. So that's
Mhm.
how Madam C.J. Walker met her, because Madam C.J. Walker, her hair, she was in a bad marriage, and her hair started falling out.
Yeah.
So Annie Malone had a recruit. She was like the Mary Kay lady of
Yeah.
the 1800s.
Yeah.
So she had a entourage of women that would go reach out to other women to talk about hair. And are you losing your hair? Is your hair too dry? Here is a sample, and it was a little salve. And
Yeah.
so Madam C.J. Walker actually used it to grow her hair back. Then she wanted to work for Annie, but Annie was a mulatto, and so Madam C.J. Walker was much darker, and so she
Mhm.
would not let her be part of the women that were out as her ambassadors, because they all had beautiful wavy hair. It was long. They were light skinned, so there was a little issue about the skin color there, and
Wow.
that's what happened. But
Mhm.
um Mrs. Malone, she actually started a college called Poro College. There's books written about her as well. She lost all her money to her ex-husband, and so she actually died poor.
I
But
think she was married early, right? When she was like
right, uh-huh.
14 or something like that.
Yeah, she was married early on. So that is the very first woman known to be possibly the first multimillionaire woman. So that did happen before. Now, this
Wow.
is the one that you like, the Black inventors.
Yes. Yes.
So I was looking at a video the other day, and it was saying, what would America be without the
without,
without us, without
yeah,
black people,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so it goes into one, no ironing board. Maybe somebody would come along later on with an ironing board.
yeah.
Um, Mary Brown, she created the home security system, which is the basis of all security systems that are
You
in
know, a
taking.
lot of people think ADT created that, right?
Nope, nope. She was the one that, and she
Mary.
actually patented it. Now the ironing board and some of these that were invented in the 1800s, they had to
Right,
get permission from their white
right,
masters,
right,
and then their masters would patent it on behalf of them.
right.
And
They would
so, but
patent it and say, okay, since they're not allowing Negroes to patent these things, we will go ahead and patent it for you. And then they put it in their own damn name. So
right,
now the blacks don't have access to their own stuff.
right.
That's
We
what
have
they did.
Right. We have Garrett Morgan. He did the three light traffic light.
Yeah,
Frederick Jones, the refrigerated trucks. So that's what we have today. The
yeah,
elevator door by Alexander Miles. The automatic elevator doors, and
right.
then Dr. James E.W. West created the microphone. So
Yeah.
all of us that have been speaking and podcasting
Uh-huh.
and broadcasting with a microphone, it, and also the headpiece, the earpiece, the hearing aid, this was all from that patent that he
Yeah.
and the design and invention of the microphone. The light bulb fulfillment. So Thomas Edison may have created the glass of the light bulb, but the actual light came from Louis
Came
Lamar.
from Mr. Lewis Latimer. Lewis Latimer. Okay? No Edison dude here.
And in 1980, 1999, Mark Dean, the color IBM PC monitor and the gigahertz chip.
I think I remember that, Crystal.
Oh,
I
you
remember
remember
that in
that?
1999 when the IBM had the color monitor. That was like a blessing because we
Right,
used
because
to
remember
watch
it was
those old
green.
black and white monitors. We hated it. We hated it. Then when the
Exactly.
color one came in, oh man, that was a beauty.
And then expanded the chip to a gigahertz
Yes.
chip. Of course, the cell phone. Um, we just could go on the cell
Yeah.
phone, the and you got the list, you have the other list, right?
Yes.
On what all we have invented. So when you think of America, and this is what I have to say, for our children. So they make our children believe that they're lesser than, and we believe we're lesser than as well. We
Right.
as black people, and they
Right.
make it feel like we have no value, no worth, no anything. But when you go back and you do your history lesson, and this is why it's so important for you to understand why you have to know your history, you have to know what our people have done, right?
Right.
Because they did this with nothing. We
Right.
actually, I hear people. I was coaching someone today, and they were like, "Well, I don't know, this is my business that I want to do, but I'm lacking this. I don't have a good camera." And then I thought, huh, but our ancestors had nothing,
That's right. That's right. They
right?
had nothing.
And they created something out of nothing. So
I
we have to figure out when we're talking and when our business owners are saying that to us, no, I'm sorry.
yeah. And then a lot of excuses I get from some of our entrepreneurs, minority business owners. Well, because of COVID, I can't do this, and COVID stopped me from making money. I don't want to hear that because our grandparents or foreparents, they had slavery, and they didn't say, "Well, we had slavery last year, so we couldn't generate any revenue." They fought through that thing. You see what I'm saying? They didn't
Right.
use any excuses. So I told one of my clients a few days ago. I said, "Listen, I don't want to hear about this COVID stuff why you couldn't do anything, because you're blaming that on COVID right now. You should have been prepared for pivoting. You should have been ready. And part of the reason why you were not ready, well, I didn't get that idle loan. Yes, you didn't get it because you didn't have your paperwork ready. They asked you if you have your business license, and you said, no, I didn't have one. I didn't need one. I don't know who told them that. So that's the type of thing I'm talking about.
And you know what my answer to that is?
Yeah.
I didn't even apply for the EIDL or the PPP, but my business never stopped.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
You didn't apply for either one of them. Did
I
you get
didn't
any
apply either.
because I figured this is my thought process, and I guess I'm more old school, right? My
Yeah.
thought process, as long as I have a marketable skill
Yeah.
that I can make money with,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and peddle that skill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do I love
Mm-hmm.
coaching? I love coaching. But if I have to make money, the skill
Right.
that I have that makes me money is bookkeeping.
Right.
So I use that. I'm not
Right.
above that. I'll never be above the bookkeeping if it's going to make me money. If it's
That's
going
what
to be
I'm
able to
talking
feed
about.
me and to keep me going. So having a skill. Heck, if you had to get out there and wash cars, if you had
Yeah.
to deliver food,
Yeah.
if you had to be the carrier, I'll go. If they didn't want an Instacart, I'll go and pick up your groceries, Miss Lady.
Yeah. That's
Whatever
what I'm
it
talking
takes
about.
to actually make money, we have a skill set. And
Yeah.
we can't be above that skill set to use it when we need to.
I am tired of the excuses, man. I don't want to hear, well, the man did this to me, so therefore I can't grow my business. No, find a way to grow it. Our foreparents found ways of becoming millionaires. We can do the same thing. And I want to jump to current day, right? I want to jump
Okay.
to some of our Black innovators who have done some things that we didn't think was possible. I want to talk about Sheila Johnson. Sheila Johnson uh, and her husband, they first Robert Johnson, they founded BET, Black Entertainment Television, back in
Mm-hmm.
1979. That's when they first launched it. Now, they're the first Black cable TV franchise targeting African American. No other franchise targeted African American, provided programming for us, and none of them really had the kind of programming that we wanted. So
Mm-hmm.
BET was the first one. They built it into such an amazing program and such amazing platform that they were reaching over 35 million African American a year. So in 2001, the Johnsons, her and her husband, they sold BET to Viacom for $2.9 billion. 2.9 billion. And then after that, Sheila Johnson, she was one of the first person to go out there and purchase a WNBA team, basketball team. She was the first female to have done that. And she purchased the Washington Mystics, which we think is phenomenal. Now we're having a lot more Black female owners in the WNBA. So this, I think she has paved the way for a lot of Black entrepreneurs,
I
and
absolutely agree.
also female coaches in the business. She's done that.
And I think let's see what else is her let me see. She's the CEO of Salamander Hospitality, a company she founded in 2005.
Yeah.
Salamander's portfolio includes the Reunion Resorts located in Reunion, Florida, the
Mm-hmm.
Innsbruck Resort and Golf Club, a 900-acre, 72-hole PG Tour golf course in
Mm-hmm.
Palm Harbor, Florida, and the Salamanders Resort and Spa in Blue Ridge Mountains in Middleburg, Virginia. I think
Yeah.
I've been to the Reunion Resort in Florida. I
Right.
think. I think my girlfriend and I were there. We were in down in that area.
Yeah.
So not only did she so here's the thing, a lot of our businesses, we have to change our thought process to, like you were saying, licensing and sponsorship and things
Yeah.
like that. Because what you want to do is to be able to build your business up, scale your business until it's time to sell it. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you sell it, now it takes you into another area and you can invest in other businesses to buy. You
Right.
can take your business public. I have a
Yeah.
client right now getting ready to go public, and he's a black man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you take your business public, you're now selling stocks on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ or wherever, and that's how you go out and garnish money. So now
Exactly.
you have a public business that if you need funds, you just sell some stock. That's how
Yeah.
you get your own money.
Yeah.
And there's so many other ways, but you can now create other, like you said, she bought into a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to stop thinking of business so linear,
Yeah.
and we have to start thinking, if you have a great business idea that you can position and find that mentor that can help you multiply that business into a multi-million-dollar business that now somebody else wants to buy,
Mm-hmm.
then that can catapult you into another business. There are many internet business owners. PayPal, what was
Yeah.
that guy's name? Paul, I think his name is DeYoung
Who,
or something, but he
who,
actually, no,
the
Thorne.
owner?
Yeah, he actually sold that business, and he sold it and bought multiple other businesses and sold them. That's
Yeah.
how they keep increasing their wealth.
That's how you got to do it. You got to
Mhm.
do it that way. And
Yeah.
I
So
also want to talk about another powerful African American woman who this time is a little closer to us, Crystal. This
okay, and who might that be?
this woman is a board of directors member at the Los Angeles Urban League.
Ah,
Her her name is Janice Bryant Holroy.
yes.
She is the founder of an employment staffing agency called Act One, and
Hmm.
she founded this company in 1978. She started the company, Crystal, with $1,500. $1,500. She started her own employment agency. Can you imagine how ingenious that is to do that? So she had a small office